Welcome everyone to another episode in which we try to build the fastest car in the world for the years 1984 till 1992. So as you can see here in the overview, we have to achieve 386 kilometers per hour. So that's kind of a daunting task. At least the economy is doing okay-ish. Well, we are dropping a bit, but it's not so severe, and we have a lot of market awareness. So that's good. That will help us a lot. This is both for Fruinia and I guess as well for Gasmia. Yeah, so Gasmia of course has a big significant muscle premium category in the car market. As you can see, they sell a lot of cars in that category. So we should also try to focus there a bit. Now in Argana we can see that we do not sell a lot, so let's get into design of the 9084 sports car that we are going to make. So yeah, in general this is not going to be super easy, so I'm going to speed it up again. As you can see here, the entire process, this is just to avoid all the handling and all the stuff that is maybe not so interesting, but still you can see how that process went. So I've designed a Alfa 4.5 liter engine for this car, and it will produce a roughly I believe somewhere around 740 horsepower, and that is the amount I needed actually to achieve the speed. So as you can see here, we achieved that speed by also upping the aerodynamics quality a lot. And well, you should hear that engine. And of course turbos are on this engine as well, because otherwise we would never be able to get to the required horsepowers in order to get to these speeds. I love this part actually of the game. I hope that in future they will also improve this a bit further, but I really like that you can always somewhat test drive your cars and see how they handle on the circuit. Yeah, so this engine is a brutal engine, and I believe it will ultimately be just as expensive as the rest of the car. Maybe a bit less, but engineering wise it's a lot. Also, I've made this engine cast iron, and I've done that because that will be a bit heavier. And you would say, okay, why put a heavier engine in a car? Well, this engine is in the back of the car, or at least it's in the mid-rear area. So in other words, you want to have as much weight actually on the rear axles of the car. And so here we are now, by the way, designing a sports coupe version, which is going to, well, try to achieve 325 kilometers per hour, and that it did. And we're also making a light sports version without any power steering, by the way, for as a track car and as a cheaper alternative with cheaper interiors. So also that one achieved 325 kilometers per hour. And this engine is the same as the one before. It's only a tiny bit smaller, but it's actually a turbo engine. Sorry, this engine does not have the turbo anymore. So that will of course help in keeping the car more in control. But as well also to keep costs down and also development costs. So I'm now just choosing my two engineers to speed up the entire process, and I want to achieve this car on the market within 5 years. So we definitely have to shave off some engineering or reliability here and there to keep within the engineering time required. So as I said, luckily we already have shaven off a lot of engineering time, by reliability. And of course, don't forget we have a lot of familiarity in many of these fields, so that will aid us a lot in keeping the output time for this car at a reasonable amount. Now the other thing that I want to actually do is I want to upgrade my factories, but since I with Furinia purchased a small plot, I cannot really use that. So I'm thinking about actually making a medium plot in Argana, buying that and building an entire new factory there, both for the engines as for the car. So that will both be cheaper, because Argana labor wise is cheaper, and what we will then just do is we will just not use, I guess, the other facilities anymore in Furinia. Though perhaps maybe in future I might still use it to maybe build another engine, a specially dedicated engine. Maybe that's an option, but we will have to see. But anyway, so I want to make a size 1 medium factory for now. We can always upgrade that later again to bigger sizes, but we definitely want to put in a size 1 medium factory for now, because I'm not so sure how many cars we can sell. And again, the profit margins are important, though these will rise the moment we actually start expanding our factory further. So for the record version we can build something like maybe 2 cars a day, and the others we will just see how they will sell. Then for the engines, just match that to the car. We have 2 models, one for the record and the other. Oh, look at that, how well that sells. So that seems like we can already see it here. We can actually bump up the margin, the profit margin, a lot, and perhaps also the amount of cars that we sell. So let's do that. So I upped the profit margin a lot, and also for the record car, that one really, of course, because also we only produce like 2 of them a day, we could really bump up the profit margin there a lot, and that will definitely help us with our profits and score that we will achieve, because we don't have that much time left in terms of the challenge, and let's see how far we can get in the score. So over 200% on the record. If we try to produce a bit more of that, of course, that will help us. The record car really has a huge profit margin, but it's also the one that I want to sell the least of. And why is that? Because the record car is it's way less reliable than the other 2. So to not hurt our reliability too much, I think that we should I will just sell only few of the record cars, and the majority will all be of the way more reliable and way more sensible as well. Light sport and sport coupe trims. So hopefully that will help. Now look at this. This really sells very well. So we can already break even somewhere within a couple of years, so 23 months, even with all those expenses that we have. I mean, we are really spending almost all our money, well, at least all the money we have in the bank, and more that we will likely gain in the next couple of years. So this is risky, but yeah, let's give it a try. I mean, this is going to be a very profitable project. So now we just start speeding through the rest of the years, see how the sales are going. Of our current model, we still sell well. Let's see how we can adjust this a bit so that we sell even a bit better, or at least let's lower the profit margin slightly to compensate. Yeah, this seems good. So speed up again, and then let's see what the impact is. That's better. We have just keep an eye on what happens here. But in the meantime, we As you can see, money-wise, we're not actually gaining anything really. That's mostly because, well, we have just bought new land. We are building entire new factories, and let's see what we can adjust again. I'm trying to do that something like each year, maybe lower production a bit, so that we don't have to fiddle around too much with the profit margins. I will just, at this moment, just want to keep them at, well, almost equal levels. So we never really run out of the stuff, but we also not overproduce tons of them. But no, it's going great with the factory. You can see how quickly now the score accumulates. Of course, we started out being a very poor small industry or factory, and by now we have some factories that are just producing, and we have, of course, new factories being built in Argana, which will actually aid us a lot in the total production numbers and also in the costs of producing a single car. So our profit margins with the next model are no doubt going up a lot. Let's see, how is this? This is going great, so we sell a lot here, and economy wise it seems like your commercial market and the luxury market is stabilizing and maybe increasing slightly again. Don't know what we can do with R&D at the moment. I think we're doing actually pretty fine there. We're already spending a significant amount of money on that each month. But of course, the moment our profit margins are rising, we can consider putting in even more money into the R&D. Perhaps in something like aerodynamics again, because that's a stat or a quality stat that we definitely like to use a lot, to not go totally overboard with the engine capabilities. So another year passed, and we're getting closer, of course, to the new production model. I'm very eager to see how that one will sell. I mean, from the calculations offered, it seems to do extremely well. At least that was the case a couple of years ago when we designed the model. Of course, new competition will be out by that time, but also don't forget the very nice thing about this car, even though it has bonkers speed. I mean, it's just ridiculous, like 325 kilometers per hour and 386 for the record model. That's really a lot for just, well, cars. But on the other hand, it did sell well in almost all the sports categories, so I think we will do very well with that car. And considering, well, our profit margin will increase, if not only because of the fact that we have a medium factory right now to produce them in, so that will be way more efficient than the small factories. Of course, more difficult, well, more expensive to tool, but that will pay off. Okay, so we lost again some money. At least we don't have to pay any tax. Let's see if we have to adjust again the old model. Seems to go okay. So perhaps let's lower this already a bit, because we of course do not have a lot of time left before we start kicking in with the new production model. Okay, so let's see. Still a couple of years to go. Let's speed through this, and hopefully our profits from the old model will suffice to let's say finance all the new endeavors on the Model 84 sports car, challenge model 84. So now we can cancel this production line, because we are only allowed to have one production line active at the same time. And I'm just roughly now normally assuming that by this time you would effectively start cancelling out if you want to transition to a new production line. So again, some losses here, but it's fine. I mean, it's an investment, so let's see. And here we go. Let's see how it will. Pooh! Okay, that sells well. So that goes pretty good. So we might have to adjust something here. See how much more we can sell or how much more margin we can gain. Can bump up the total production, but it's really doing great. So no issues here. This is going to be a great seller for Hollandia, the company that I'm playing with. Okay, let's see how does this progress. Of course, we don't have a lot of time since we soonish have to design the entire new model again. That will be in 1992. Let's get rid of these old cars as much as we can, now that we are still capable of selling them for a slight profit. Because I don't want to keep those in stock. So this goes well. Our production is really almost on par with the demand. So, and even with these huge profit margins, I mean, I believe that we're still 200 plus profit margin on the wrecked car. It's also because we don't produce a lot of them, but that doesn't matter. So if we want to, the fuel system is going to be very expensive. I mean, not that we cannot afford it, but it's like maybe not the best, most efficient way to spend our money. Aerodynamics could be something, but again, also not super efficient maybe. How are our finances doing actually? Oh, look at that, the income. So our profit margin is almost double the cost. So, our revenue is twice the expenses that we have. So we're almost making something like 100% profit currently. So that's great. Of course, this will lower again over time, unless the economy is booming. Then we might even sell more and more and more at higher profit margins. But in general, this will take some time. And I mean, for this car, well, you will likely not have seen this so well, but I really had to increase the aerodynamics a lot, the quality there, in order to get to the speed with this engine. But that's fine. I mean, as long as we stay within reasonable amount of time for the engineers, which was now like 5 years, even though we had to lower the reliability a bit, focus on that. We're still doing great. I mean, these cars are not known for reliability. They're known for prestige, and that's also what the company is known for. So that's the most important part. It's sad though that I could not fit a V12 into this car. Well, I could fit it in, but I couldn't really, I guess get to the horsepower demanded for this challenge. So that was an issue. So I had to resort to a V8, but it worked out fine anyway. I mean, the way that this car sells, I'm really happy about. So let's see, the commercial market is again increasing a bit, though the luxury was slightly stagnating. And we're still selling a lot. And this also goes well. Let's see, this all goes great. Gasmia, look at that. Yeah, it's those categories like the muscle premium and the sports category which are really helping out with the sales, because those are big sectors to sell cars in. So I guess we can increase and adjust a bit again. Maybe lower that slightly. Though I just don't want to sell a lot of the wrecked cars anyway. and we're slowly getting towards 1992. And once we're there, I think this will be, I will call this an episode for now. Of course, well, we're doing great. Score wise as well, I'm really happy about it. We're now above 1 billion. Though now the taxes will start to deduct some of that, but I mean, we're doing great. So hopefully we can do even better next time. So if you liked, please give a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos. See you again next time.